Hello everyone, and welcome to my video on teaching you how to multi-account with all the tips and tricks that I know and have kind of learned thus far. I made a very detailed guide on how to do this several years ago, and though a lot of those might still apply, this is going to be very much more updated with some of the 3.0 options and also hopefully a lot more concise in teaching you how to do this. So if you want to learn how to multi-account, this is the right video for you, and hopefully you're going to be like a pro in no time. If you like what you see and you want to make sure you're alerted to any other future guides I make on the channel, you might consider hitting that subscribe button. It's definitely going to help me out, and it's also going to help you out because you'll get notified as soon as those guides come on the channel. No time to waste, we got Unity to play, so let's get through this video so you can start running your own team in Dofus. All right, we're going to start out right here with the launcher because this is where it all begins. Now, the number one question I probably get when it comes to multi-accounting is if you want to run multiple accounts, do you have to set up multiple accounts? And the answer is yes. So you have to go through the Dofus website, create an account, and then each one of those accounts can have their own set of characters. That's basically how that works. You'll also need to launch your own instance for each account, but you do it all through one launcher. But don't worry, I'm going to walk you through this process. It's super easy, and there's some little things you can do here on the launcher to make it even easier. So when I say you're going to launch an instance for each one of them, each time you click this launch button, it's going to launch Dofus, or a Windows of Dofus, and you need a Windows of Dofus for each account you plan to play. So if you're going to run 2 or 3 accounts, you'll need to click this button 2 or 3 times. But you can make it easier on yourself if you come over here to the game options and select multi-accounting down here at the bottom. So the first thing you have to do is click on the add account button, and this is where you will link your accounts that you created to your launcher. The process is pretty simple. You hit this, you'll go to the website, it'll send a code to whatever email account you got set up. Then on that website page, you punch in the code and boom, you should be linked up on your account. The option on the right over here is basically where you can turn on or off any of these accounts, which can be super helpful. So like these accounts right here right now, they're not subscribed and I don't want them to launch. So I just turn them off. And if I hit the launch all button, which you can see down here, you can select one at a time each time you click it, or you can hit this where it'll launch all the accounts that you have turned on. So if you know you're playing your whole team, just switch this on. And as long as the ones that you want to launch are turned on as active, when you hit the play button, it's going to launch 4 instances, each one to an account right out of the gate. If you got a particular order you know you want them to play in as well, you can grab these and move them around into that order, which can be kind of nice, especially if you tend to know already which order your characters are going to play in. But we'll cover more of that here in a little bit. One other thing I'll point out here real quick, if you're launching all your accounts at once and you don't need to go to your character page, you want to go right into the game, you can go up here to general, and then right here underneath connections, you can switch this from to character to server or straight to the game. So if you select this, when you hit play, all 4 characters get logged in at one time and all 4 characters go right into the game. It's super quick, super convenient. I love it. Another question I've gotten quite a few times are people that are creating multi-account teams for the very first time. They will get out here to Incarnum after creating the characters and they can't find their team. If you weren't aware, Incarnum is created with several instances inside of Dofus, and it's to help keep the population from becoming too crazy inside of here, because it's a pretty small space. So the easiest way that I found to fix this is if you come out here, run over to the portal that takes you down into Astrib. Right there inside the portal, group up with your team because you should see all of your characters there as long as they're all on the same server. Group them all up and then go back through the portal into Incarnum and you should all be together again. Now I will point out real quick, but I haven't tested this myself to see if it works. You used to be able to try to get your team onto the same instance also through the friends list. I think if you click on the name and click the join button, you will actually be moved to the instance that they are on. But I haven't tested that myself, so perhaps somebody in the comment section can let us know if that actually worked or not. All right, there is a second most popular question that I get all the time. It's how do you move between your accounts so quickly? Now, how I do this is if you hold the Alt key on your keyboard and tap escape, it switches between the open tabs or open windows you have on your PC. So what you kind of want to do is just close all the windows that you don't need open because it makes so you don't have to tab through extra windows between your moves. But then you click, and as quick as you can hit the Alt Escape button, you can move between your accounts. And it looks instant because it kind of is instant. And it feels oh so good. Now, if you do see this thing popping up from time to time, which is going to happen, especially when you're still trying to learn how to get the rhythm down just right, it's just because your timing is off and you're hitting the escape key like before it switched over to the next window. So just click the X. It's annoying, but you'll get better at it with practice. And once you got that timing down, not a problem. Now, one thing you might need to do when you first get your windows logged in is getting them in the correct fighting order. The easiest way I found to do that is just go do some simple fight, Pee-wees or something. And then this will display the order in which your characters are going to fight. Now, what I need is Bonkers to be number 1. Now, if I hit my Alt Escape, they're going to be in the order that I log them in, but I want them in the fight order. So every time I hit Alt Escape, it goes to the next character in the fight. So what I'm going to do is go over here to my Bonkers character first. Then I need to make sure Benjamight's second. So I'll hit Alt Escape. Well, right now my SRAM is my second character. So I'm going to hit the Start key on my keyboard, hover over top of my windows that I have open, and select Benjamight. That puts him second in line for my window tabs. Then I need killer commas, so I'm going to hit Alt Escape again. Again, my SRAM is next in line because that's who is there next. Hit this, come over to killer commas, now she's next, and now hit it again, and now my SRAM is next. So now as I tab through here, they're going to be in their actual attack order. Super convenient. I highly recommend you do it that way. And every once in a while, you'll be in a fight and you'll be like, wait, my characters are out of order. How did that happen? Usually it's one of two things. One, either your character leveled and they got a little HP buff that just barely put them over the initiative of another character. That typically happens more at lower levels than higher levels, but most likely what happened is one of your characters are not at full HP, which lowers their initiative and puts them further back in the line. So as long as you always start your fights at full HP and you didn't have any characters just level, they should stay in the correct order every fight you go into. Now, if you are having issues with maybe your fight music overlapping, because that's where I found it happening from time to time, what you want to do is mute the music on the other 3 accounts, not your main account. And if you're not quite sure which one was logged in as your main account, there's a pretty easy way to figure this out. If you click icons and you're not really hearing any sound, like see, we're not hearing nothing. There's no real sound there. But if I go and get on the main account, see no sound there. Did you hear it? Hear the swoosh sound? That's when you know this is the account that has all the main sound coming through it. So what you can do is then on all the other ones, so you just Alt Escape to the next one, go up here, click sound, and you can just mute the music. I haven't had issues with any other sound effects being an issue of like overlapping or anything like that. But the music from time to time will cause that issue. I'm sure it's a bug, and by the time you watch this video, maybe it's already patched out. But thought I would throw it in here in case you're having that annoying effect. That's how you can get by it. Another thing that can be a little bit of a pain, especially if you're doing like some questing or trying to trade some items between specific accounts. If you only have 2 accounts, it's no big deal because you're only switching between 2 windows. But if you've got 3, 4, or more, there's not really much on the screen that shows you which account you are on. So what I've always done and found super helpful is I will put an item down here in the quick select bar that gives me a clue as to which character this is. Now at low levels, what I love to do is the Pee-wee set because I typically have a character in each element. So I know the strength character is my fogger, so if I see yellow down here, I'm on Benjamight. And then this way, if you tab through them, there's blue, red, and green. And so you'll know exactly which account you're on at a quick glance down there without having to like search around or pop up an icon or any other kind of crazy stuff. Real quick tip. All right, obviously feature very new to Unity and it's absolutely fantastic. I have fallen in love with this ability, and that's to be able to have your accounts follow whoever you've designated as the party leader. If you weren't aware, every character now has access to that GPS feature that was on the mounts, where you can send a character to a location and they'll run all the way there. And I'll give you a quick little tip on that here in just a second. But what that is also enabled is for your characters to have the GPS ability on themselves. You don't have to be on a mount to do that, but you do have to be at least level 10. Once you reach level 10, you will have this little foot symbol show up here next to your character. And as long as you click this, they will follow the party leader here. If they're not clicked, when your party leader runs around, they will not. Yeah, that works. Super easy. It saves you a lot of alt escaping, which is fantastic. But as long as you click this, see, I just ran over there. So now when I run around, he comes right along with me. Now, I have also found if you run a good amount of distance, your following characters might start to lag behind a little bit. See, like they're starting to drag a bit. But if you stay here, just kind of click around, they do eventually catch up. I've been multiple maps away and I sit there for a few minutes and sure enough, they come moseying along. They just got distracted on the way. That's all. Now, if you weren't sure how to use the GPS auto run feature, it's pretty simple. You basically can hold anywhere you want on the mini map here, hold the control key, and when you click a point, and you'll see that little blue line pop up showing you the path that they are going to run to get there. And just like before, your characters will follow your leader all the way there. If they start to lag behind a little bit, don't worry, just give them a couple minutes, they will show up at the location. Now, occasionally you will have a character that is like really far behind and they almost are like stuck on something. If you stay on the map that you want and just kind of click around, they will get here. It just takes a moment. Pods can also become a bigger issue sometimes when you're multi-counting because you're getting kind of like 4 times the loot. I know it's not exact, but you know what I mean. You're getting a lot more loot than maybe just running around by yourself. And if you don't want to be running over to the trash can all the time, there's a few tips I can give you to maybe help with that pod management, especially at them early levels. If you weren't aware, when you level professions, you gain some pods. And for the first several levels, you get 12 pods per level. It doesn't matter which one, you get 12 extra pods. And then it drops to 11, and then it drops to 10, and as you level them up, it becomes less that you gain per level. Now, if you got 50 levels at 12 pods, that's an extra 600 pods that your character can carry, no matter which element they're built in. That can free you up a lot of time and a lot of trash can dumping. Speaking of trash can dumping and bank management, don't go over there and throw all your stuff into the bank because you pay 1 comma per stack that you have in there. Now, if you only have 2 or 3 items in there, but you got like 500 of them, no big deal. You're paying 3 commas each time you log in. But if you're a hoarder like me and you've got hundreds, if not thousands of things that you are stacking in there, every time you log into your bank, you are paying that fee. Well, you have a lot of space right inside your Haven bag with this chest. I think you can hit the H key to bring up the Haven bag, or it's this little icon right down here. Now, I believe you got to be level 20 to gain access to it, but every account gets one. And inside of here, you can stack up a lot of extra loot so that you don't have to be putting them in the bank. Now, what I typically do are things that are going to be stacked up really high. You're going to have lots of ashwood, lots of wheat. Those are the kind of things to put into the bank because you're going to have hundreds, if not thousands of them. But when you have a whole lot of little hodgepodge things that you don't want to have to pay a fee for every time, this is a great place to put it, and every account has one. Could be very convenient. And also, if you're on some big run far away from a city and you're maxing out your pods, this can be a great place to store them so that you don't have to zap all the way back to some bank somewhere. Also, fun fact, if you didn't know, this chest is linked for every character on this account. So if I create a second character on this account, then the stuff that is in here will be accessible by them as well. You can transfer equipment this way, scrolls this way, all this kind of stuff. It goes straight from one character to the other, which is a pretty good convenience. Thought I'd point it out in case you weren't aware. One more pod tip I'll give you, and this is one that I've done for years and it's really paid off. Make your main account, the one you're going to log in when you only want to run one account, maybe do some profession work or anything like that, make that your strength-based character because a strength gives them extra pods. So if you do all the pod tricks I taught you and it's a strength-based character, they're going to carry far more than the rest of your team. Then after a big run, you can pile all the loot that you've gathered onto that one character. It probably, hopefully, going to be able to carry everything all by themselves. Then you zap back, put stuff in the market, work professions or whatever, and you don't have to try to run 3 or 4 characters back to a bank and manage all these different inventories. You can keep one inventory on your main account because it's your strength-based character and then carry like 4 times the rest of your team. And one final tip I have for you is involving the UI. Now, I know it's not the best and I know Income is working on it. If you weren't aware, I believe in March, we are supposed to be getting a complete overhaul, look, design, everything to the UI. I'm so looking forward to that. But until then, if you are having issues with your UI changing on you, floating away, or being different each time you log in, you have 2 options. One, there is this lock interface module thing. Now, I have not had much luck with that. I've turned it on. I've left it off this whole time so far and haven't had any issues. But the only thing I have found is when I have it locked and I come in and things are changed, I have to go in here and unlock them so that I can put it back the way it was. Super annoying, didn't work for me. But what I have found works is if instead of just closing all your windows, which is what I used to do, if you hit the power button and go to exit Dofus and like close out properly, everything seems to stay put. I haven't had a single issue yet, and I've logged in many times already with all my accounts in multiple different ways. 1 at a time, doing all 4 at a time. Haven't had any UIs change or move on me yet, and fingers crossed that will not happen anymore. So I thought I would throw that out there for you. Maybe this is something that'll be patched and it won't even be an issue by the time you see this video, but right now it is an issue for some people. So there's the workaround that I have found. All right, there we got it. You guys can be multi-accounting champions now. If you've got any questions still, be sure to leave them in the comments. I will do my best to respond to those. And as I continue to play more and find more tips and tricks that maybe help you multi-accounters, I will try to put out a follow-up video on down the road. So if you want to know when that arrives, or possibly any other guides I might make on the channel, or perhaps you just like to watch me play the game, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, you'll know exactly when those videos get here. That's it for this one, everybody. Continue to be safe out there, and I will see you on the next one.